What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. Happy freaking Saturday to you. Guys, I hope you had a fantastic week. I hope it's been productive. I hope you've grown a little bit. I hope you've made a little bit of a difference and an impact in the lives that are around you to just fulfill this purpose that we've been given, right? So, guys, I want to talk today about something that actually just very recently came up in a conversation, and it was the best way I was able to describe it, and it's called evolutional friction. And we can look at it in kind of two different ways. We can look at it personally and we can look at it professionally, right? So to look at it personally, evolutional friction, let me just first kind of define that, right? Some people might know this as another term called growing pains, right? Evolving, growing, friction, pain, growing pains, evolutional friction. There you go. Simple definition. However, what I've come to learn is that we as humans will always be enduring evolutional friction. At least you should be. Otherwise, that means you're dead or you're dying, one or the other, right? You're not growing, you're dying. And when we encounter those, we have two ways to look at it. We either look at it as a problem, as an obstacle, right? Or we look at it as an opportunity. So when it comes to our personal lives and we have evolutional friction in our lives, it could be with relationships, right? With our spouse, with our significant other, our family, our friends, things like that. And if we take those chances and we have those conversations, those discussions, those thoughts or those times to kind of just analyze things in our life, and we realize that, hey, maybe we're having some friction here because of this, and if we do that, it'll get us there. And so you take that time to analyze why you're having that friction, right? Why you're having those growing pains. And 9 times out of 10, actually, in my opinion, 10 times out of 10, the result you get because of taking the time to analyze those evolutional frictions, you're going to get a better result, right? You're going to get a better outcome because you took the time to look into it and to discuss it and to, figure out the better solution. And if you don't, that's where we become stagnant. That's where we become at a standstill. We hit a roadblock. We're just like, well, this is how it's going to be forever. Or, oh, I'm doomed for failure. Or, oh, this or that, right? And so when we take those times, we push through those friction points and we get on the other side, the unfortunate reality is you're only going to be on that other side and coasting until you hit the next friction point, the next growth spurt, right? And so you have to just get into a routine of taking these moments, these friction points in your life personally, as opportunities to grow, that your relationships will become strengthened, that your own personal, dialogue, your mental strength, your emotional strength, things like that will become strengthened the more that you take the time to evaluate them and the more that you put effort on getting through them and growing because of them. And then when we switch it over to more of a professional side of things, right? Evolutional friction comes in the workplace all the time. Unless you're working a job for a company that just requires you to remain stagnant and at a standstill, which in my opinion is a dead-end job. So the recommendation would be to get out of there ASAP. Unless you're doing that, there will always be evolutional friction because you're in a growing space. You're in something that is continuing to evolve, and that with that comes pain. With that comes, pinch points and things like that you have to put effort into getting past. So we've recently at our company had evolutional friction because of just the way that we're continuing to grow, right? We're adding members to our team. We're adding positions. We're making promotions with new job roles and descriptions that we've never had before. So when we do that, it creates friction points because we're trying to figure out how do we navigate this? Where are we going with this? What's our end goal for this? What's happening right now to get us where we need to go? And the more effort we put in on those, the more conversations we have around that, the quicker and the stronger we continue to grow and evolve, right? So for example, 3 years ago, back in 2020, I was still operating more or less kind of in our crew, right? In our field crews, on probably about 60 to 70% of the jobs. I was there helping get things done, making sure things were getting taken care of. Towards the end of 2020, actually maybe middle of 2021, about a year and a half or so later, JJ, who some of you guys know who follow Proline and follow me and stuff, he's our operations manager. He came along and he realized, he said, the more you're out here, the longer it's going to take for this company to grow, because you can't be out doing sales and business development and things like that. So he pushed me up and out of the operations, right? Not by just saying, hey, get out of here, I got it. It was, hey, let me prove to you that I can handle this, that I can take care of that you're good to go do this. We've got you taken care of. So he pushed me up and out of there. Well, in that moment, there was evolutional friction, because up until that point, I was out on every job, right? I had my sign off on every project that we were getting done. And when that changed, it was kind of like, okay, well, how do we navigate making sure this gets handled? Or how do we document this process? Or how do we train on that? So there were all these friction points of getting one person into that role that I was fulfilling. And it was tough, right? I mean, I recall having conversations with other business owners and mentors and peers of mine. I said, man, well, you don't have to do the day-to-day stuff to generate the revenue. Like, what do you do? And they said, oh, you work on the business. I'm like, well, what the heck does that mean, right? So there was friction points created in my life because we were evolving. So fast forward a couple years to now, 2023, and we've kind of evolved to a point where now we don't have, it's not, it was just Daniel and a couple guys working in the crew. Now it's JJ's the operations manager, and we have 7 guys in the team in the field, right? And so he's now having to grow out of that role into more of a leadership role, into a mentorship role and things like that. And so what we've had to do is endure some friction points of what does an operational leader look like? That's not the owner of the company that's just going on to do other things, other tasks in it. But now your job is literally to grow the people to do the tasks, and not just grow them and train them to do the things and check the boxes, but to become men and women of character, men and women of good morals and ethics and things like that we want to have representing us in the company. So we have a leadership team that gets developed, right? We have our office manager, Amanda, who she runs all of our administrative things and helps with sales and things like that. We have our operations manager, JJ. We have me, doing whatever the heck I'm doing, typically causing problems if you ask anyone else. But we have a leadership team now that has been part of our evolution that says, okay, us 3 core people have to make sure that we're on the same page to make sure that all the rest of the people in this company are being guided down the same path, that we're all going in the same direction, we're looking for the same results and to achieve the same things. And so when those friction points come up, my encouragement to you is embrace them. Take them head first. Check your emotions at the door the best you can. I understand we're human. We all have emotions and, egos and things like that. They're all overrated when it comes to business and professional, friction. Check them at the door, see what you're trying to accomplish and solve it. Work together as a team to solve it, right? So we take these friction points and we can chalk them up as wins, right? As feathers in the cap of we overcame one more obstacle, one more opportunity to grow and develop and just get better as a team, more solid as a team. Because if you don't take those, if you don't use those opportunities to get better, you just sweep them under the rug. Oh, another friction, we'll move on with life. Yeah, no big deal. I got it. When really you're festering inside and you just move on. And you don't embrace that friction and you don't just take it head on. It's going to get swept under the rug. And what happens with all the stuff that gets swept under the rug or bottled up? Eventually it gets full and it comes blowing out. And it's not good for anyone involved. So the encouragement here is to take these evolutional friction points that you're going to embrace. If you're any person of desiring growth and development and to continue bettering yourself and those around you, you will have to encounter evolutional friction points in your life, personally and professionally. And the encouragement is to take them head on, to look at them, analyze them, to determine what needs to happen to get the best result, to keep moving you towards your goals, right? Our goal at Proline is to continue to grow and make the biggest impact we can in and around the pavement maintenance industry and everybody who's affected by it. That's what we want to do. So when we hit friction points, we say, all right, what direction do we need to go from here to achieve this goal, to make it happen? Because if we're not doing that, then we're doing everybody a disservice. We're not in alignment with where we're trying to go. So in your personal life and in your professional life, you will encounter the evolutional friction. It's inevitable. You can call them growing pains, or you can use my term that I came up with of evolutional friction because it's cool. You will encounter them, you will have to embrace them, and you will grow from them. And I can promise you that. If you do those things, you will get the results that you're seeking to get. It's not always fun, it's not always pleasant, it's not always enjoyable, but it's going to be what you're supposed to do in those moments. So, anytime you're seeing that friction, you're hitting those growing pains as a business owner, as a member of a team, as a spouse, as a friend, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, whatever you are, whatever role you're playing at that time, you're hitting that friction. My point blank encouragement to you is to hit it head on. Hit it head on and take it with the best of your ability to overcome it, to learn from it, and to check it up as a lesson learned in your life. So, guys, that is my, I guess you could call it kind of impromptu discussion on evolutional friction. Like I said, it's something that's just we're kind of going through right now. I tell you guys all the time that I bring up these conversations because it's stuff that I'm dealing with too, right? I get on this screen and I talk with you guys just as much for me as it is for anyone else listening. So I'm always open to talk about anything, to discuss these topics. I'm always open to topic recommendations as well because that makes it fun. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, whatever it is that you may be doing with whoever it is you're doing it with and wherever it's at. I hope it's what you want to do. So, guys, I thank you. I appreciate you.